Former Joburg Mayor Mpho Phalatse is in hot water. She's accused of misleading the public regarding a lease agreement worth 27 million rand involving the Johannesburg Property Company. Phalatse claims that the funds from the deal were used by the ANC to bribe councillors who voted in a no-confidence motion recently in council that basically ended her time as mayor of Johannesburg. The JPC CEO, Helen Botes, is with me now to talk more about this. Helen, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's start with the basics. This 27 million rand in question, what was it for? Where did it go?
The 27 million rand in question was for a reinstatement of a building which the city leased from a company called Vertical in 2017. And in terms of the lease agreement, 6.3 of the lease agreement, clause 6.3 of the lease agreement, should the city leave the property or vacate the property, we had to reinstate the property as per the landlord's specification. It was not for rental amounts, it was actually for reinstatement of the building. The city has occupied this building for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm. And why did the city have to leave?
The city, it was leased by the finance department, and they had consolidated the call center to other buildings within the city. One of the call centers that they used was actually located in Martindale and another one in Harrison Street. So when they left the building, as per the lease agreement, they left some of the equipment behind, and they left, they did not reinstate the building. So these negotiations with the landlord to fix up the building, to reinstate it, has been going on for the past 2 years. In March 2021, the landlord then issued the city with summons for us to reinstate that building. And the 27 million came about from a negotiated settlement. It's a legal settlement. The landlord did a bit of quantities to outline what needs to be fixed up in the building, and the JPC was custodian of that lease agreement, also did a bill of quantities so that we could agree on what was the cost to fix up the building.
So as we sit here, you can prove that that money, every cent of that 27 million rand, was used only for that purpose and nothing to do with the bribery of councillors to remove Dr. Phalatse as mayor?
What I can prove is that there's a bill of quantities, both from the JPC's independent quantity surveyor and from the landlord's independent quantity surveyor. As officials, we do not get involved in what political parties accuse each other of. So for the public record, we've got a bill of quantities that itemizes every single item with the price that goes with that item.
So what would the former mayor say this? Is she lying?
Certainly it's misinformation to the public. It is not true what was said. And I can provide the public with that bill of quantities and that settlement agreement, what the settlement was for. Why the previous mayor said that, I have no idea.
So there's an earlier report I was looking at just before we went on air which said that you now intend to sue the former mayor. Is that true?
Well, I intend to take legal action in terms of the misinformation that has been spread against the company, against its management team. This does impact our professional reputation, and I certainly think we have to look at the legal process because you can't allow somebody to walk around and just muddy the waters on facts that is not true.
So you say you're going to take legal action. What does that mean? Do you want a retraction, an apology, financial compensation for harm done to the reputation of the agency? We want
a retraction. I'd like a retraction. Financial implications, no, but certainly a retraction, yes. And we do want, the JPC's management team wants this thing investigated, so we have appealed to the city manager to investigate it, seeing that it was put in the public platform in this manner, that it is a corrupt deal. It is not a corrupt deal. It is not a rental that is overdue or rental that has been overpaid. It is a reinstatement of the building that is supported by a bill of quantities.
Who owns the building?
The building is owned by a company called Vertical. That's who we entered the lease agreement with. And we entered that lease agreement in 2017. The company was formed in 2014. The former mayor said that this company was formed 6 months ago. That is not true. That is an untruth.
So would I be right to say what you are telling us tonight on Newzroom Afrika is that if any portion of that 27 million rand was indeed used, allegedly, as is now being said by the former mayor, to bribe members of council to vote her out, it would not have flowed for that purpose from your purse as a JPC?
It would not have flowed for that purpose from the JPC. What JPC paid for was legally vetted. It was legally vetted, and it is itemized. Every single cent is itemized. So what left the JPC's purse that went to the account of Bertie Cole, which was given to us, was for the purposes of reinstating the building, which the landlord must reinstate. It is his building, and he must reinstate his building.
Had you, as CEO, and the broader JPC, had any sort of run-ins, shall we say, in the past with the mayor that may perhaps have given rise to suspicion that money flowing from your bank account would be used to fund an agenda to get rid of her?
There's no run-ins to my knowledge where we could be accused of funding a political party. If those if those statements were made in the passage, we're not aware of them, what drove those statements, and what was the motive behind them.
So if she were to say tomorrow morning, apologies, I misspoke, would this be all done with? Then would you bury the hatchet?
I would want the deal to be investigated so that I and my management team can restore our reputations, and the company can move forward focusing on the work that's on the table. And certainly she'd have to make an apology to the public. But I certainly want this deal investigated. Right?
Investigated internally?
Whoever the city manager chooses or the board chooses to investigate.
I'm curious about what pattern or what methodology that sort of investigation would follow. Was it would you look at where the funds flowed to, or who was involved in the transaction? Excuse me if these are very simple questions.
No. I wouldn't get involved in the investigation. Right? That's left for the board and the city manager to do. Right? So what methodology they follow, they will have to answer those questions. But we need to ensure, to give comfort to the public, that the money and the process that we followed was 100% above board, that it was a legal process. Right?
And are you having those conversations about an investigation?
Well, certainly the board
with the relevant people?
Yes, the board is. Okay.
And when might we expect a conclusive decision on whether an investigation will indeed be instituted, when we might know for sure where the money went, etc.?
I think that's a question that the board and the city manager will have to answer. And certainly I would like this concluded as soon as possible. I'd like it concluded in the next few days, so that the public can rest assured that the 27 million was indeed a legal settlement. It was not proceeds of a corrupt transaction, and that we had to reinstate the building for the landlord, and that those bill of quantities can be verified, especially the bill of quantities that was done by the JPC.
Helen Botes, good to have your time. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much. Thank you.